want me to make you a plate?
Nikki, the truth is, you're adopted.
That was my cousin Anne Marie. And here she is again with my cousin Madeline at our family's annual cookie swap. For the past 4 years of my life, I've been away at school, 7 hours away from my friends and family. Going into my senior year, I had to choose a project to make, so I decided to make one about my grandfather, who passed away just a few years ago. This film is the journey that I took while learning about him.
I feel like this film is maybe me, making up for lost time. A lot has happened in 2 years to make me more grown up than I was maybe when he passed away. And I know when I appreciated him more, but still I don't think it was enough. So doing this film, I think, is just a way to bring him into my life like one last time as this like enigma of light helping me get through this film.
He was a family man through and through. He was the kind of guy that wanted to go on vacations, looked forward to going on vacations. When me and Mommy were younger, when we were your age, younger than that, he took us to Florida. He took us to Lake George, took us to the shore. He just loved to do things with the family.
I don't know, you know how you have really vivid memories from your childhood?
Mm.
I just remember this one day, and my mom wasn't there. She went somewhere, I don't know where she went, and I think he was trying to put me down for a nap. I was young, and the sun was shining. It must have been like summertime because the sun was shining in the windows. And he was singing "You Are My Sunshine" to me.
But I remember when you had your first child, and he said to me, you never know that you could feel that kind of a love. It's a different kind of love than love between a man and a woman. But the love that you feel for a grandchild. And oh my gosh, he was so right.
Yeah,
I remember him saying that when she was a toddler, that you had a halo because he loved that curly hair.
She did.
And he said, "Oh, she's my little angel. She has a halo. See it?" And she did. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, she did.
Yeah, if I take my hair down, I look like Simba.
Well, what did you think about your pop-up? What was your first memory?
Oh, I was actually thinking about this last night. I feel like my first memory with like either of them, I don't know how old I was, but it was when they still lived on North Street. It was I walked, like, we went over to visit for Christmas, and like Elsie was sitting on the couch, and I like specifically remember, and I think this is why there's an ornament, right, that is like my favorite ornament, and I'm the one that hangs on the tree each year, which is like, it's a little green phone with like a red wire, and it says like 1-800-FRIEND on it. It's a little elf like holding the phone. I don't know, I saw that ornament, and then it just kind of stuck. That's like the first memory I have.
I mean, it's really scary going into a new friend's household, not knowing what you're going to be walking into. If, this day and age, it's hard to go in a household without having at least one or two people in it being homophobic or, just because of the way they were raised to think about it. But, I mean, overall, even though I can't, necessarily remember the exact moment meeting him and having a conversation with him, because there were so many over the years, I know for a fact that I didn't feel like he thought of me any differently. He treated me like any person would a friend, of their granddaughters. And
You both like absorbed everything that was going on at the time. Like, you always seemed to be in the know. and Papa was always in the know. You know, so I think you're very similar that way.
Mm-hmm.
You're both very stubborn.
Yeah.
And you both have an attitude. Take me for who I am. If you don't like me, tough on you.
This is just a check-in point for me to like see where I am during this whole process of making this thing. You know, I interviewed my aunts a few days ago, and that was great, and I loved hearing the stories. It's just I wish I cared enough to, you know, listen to these stories from my grandfather. You know, I feel like I was kind of selfish. I was more so concerned about me and talking to him about me rather than talking to him about himself. You know, it kind of sucks that he's not here to tell me these stories himself, you know, but I'm grateful that I have people who can tell me these stories, you know. It's just been kind of frustrating, to say the least.
So I feel like when someone loses a person in their life that holds such importance and can keep the family together and keep everything together and, you know, be the strong backbone but still be able to function like a normal human being whilst holding all this, you know, this weight on their shoulders from, you know, keeping everyone feeling good about themselves and about each other. And it's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And it's really, nobody realizes it's a lot of work until they lose the person that was doing the work. And I mean, that's like, you know, how life works. And your grandfather was most definitely, you know, always made sure to say hi when he was well. Like, if he was in the house, I always, you know, pretty much always saw him say hi. You know, going on vacation, he was able to keep everyone calm. Everything was, you know, steady and stuff like that. And you could really tell that he was the one that was, you know, just easing the situation in. And a lot of people don't realize that being that person is a very difficult situation.
A lot of people complain about their parents.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear that all the time from a lot of people. And I can honestly say, from the bottom of my heart, I was very lucky. I was extremely lucky to have him as a father. I couldn't have asked for a better father. He was one of the best men I know, nor knew. He was amazing.
What your dad would do, which I loved, he did it to grandmom, he did it to your mom, and he did it to me as far as I know. I never really saw him do it to anybody else. But he used to rub the back of my head.
Really?
Yeah. When he was hugging me, he used to rub the back of my head.
I don't know, I don't want to make it seem like you're, you know, disconnected all the time, but sometimes you have moments where you're very, like, inclined to how everyone's feeling, to, you know, you're very inclined to make sure everyone's feeling all right. Mm-hmm. You know, if you see me acting a certain type of way, you know, if I'm acting weird, then, you know, you'd be the first person to say, you know, oh, you all right? Like, you doing okay? But, and I mean that, I don't think even your grandfather was that way, you know, I don't think he straight up was just like, oh, let me keep everything together when he first came out the womb. You know, it takes time, and it takes patience, and it takes a lot of characteristics to grow on you in order to be that type of person. But I think you definitely have the capacity to, you know, achieve that goal if that's what you're looking for in your life, you know. It had to take a lot to allow him to talk to other people about his own emotions. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I feel if you were to reach, like, a middle ground point where you would also be able to vent to people when you need to, and then also be there for everyone, just as an emotional support, you know, it's not like you're going to know exactly what to say to everyone's situation, but, sure, you know, as long as you're giving and receiving information, then I don't feel like it would be too overwhelming.
So, this is my last check-in point for this film. I'm nearing the completion of it. And going back and looking through all the things that I shot, months ago for this has been really strange. Doing this film, I think, in the end, was really great for me to learn about my grandfather through his family and to talk about him and our similarities, with my friends, and it was great. I think I learned I think taking this on was more than I had originally anticipated. Not necessarily making the film, but the contents of the film. I didn't expect. There's been a lot of tears, like just thinking about him doing this. I was talking to my mom about the day that I left to come back here, because I was on winter break and he decided that he wanted to stop dialysis, and I was thinking about him and how I hugged him and he was like, I'm so proud of you. Having you as a grandchild was great, and I'm so proud to be your grandfather. And I was going into taking a documentary class, and he was talking about how proud he was that I was taking a documentary class and how he was so excited about it. And, he never got to see any of the documentaries I made. He died a couple weeks later. So I think making this documentary, I hope he would be proud, because I'm proud of it. I put a lot of work into this, and I think doing this film, I put a lot of work into my person and myself. And I think making it, I'll probably end up being a better person in the end.